Adanna stood at the gate with a crying baby on her hip, one by her side and another sitting on a wheelchair. Her eyes were tired. Her clothes were soaked from her own sweat, but her pride was untouched. That gate used to open with laughter and love. Now it opened with silence and shame. The house behind her, a house she once helped build with her dreams, her prayers, and her bare hands. They had dreamed of building a family there. They even danced in the rain together. Now, that same house was pushing her out like a stranger. And her only crime, she gave birth to girls. It hadn't always been like this. Hugo would press his ear to her belly, grinning like a child, whispering, "I can already hear tiny footsteps." He would massage her feet, sing old love songs while cooking noodles, and say, "We're building our kingdom, Adanna." The day she gave birth, Hugo cried tears of joy. But when the nurse smiled and said, "It's a girl," his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Still, Adanna laughed through her pain. "Maybe the next one will be a boy," she joked, holding the newborn close. But the second child was also a girl, Grace, born with legs too weak to stand. The doctors said she might never walk. Hugo stood in the hospital room, hands in his pocket, saying nothing. At home, the silence became louder. Then came the whispers. One morning, Hugo snapped. "When will you give me a male child? This is not what I bargained for. Look at my friend Tomi. He has 3 healthy boys. My friends are now laughing at me, saying I'm not man enough. Who will carry on my name?" Adanna took a deep breath and replied calmly, "Please don't talk like that. I'm not the one who decides the gender of a child. It's whatever you give me that I will carry. Those days are gone when girls were not valued. Female children also bring honor and respect to their parents, just like boys. My dear husband, let's keep praying and trusting God. Only He can give us a male child. There's nothing more I can do." But Hugo shouted, "Don't tell me that. Instead of looking for a solution, you're here giving a motivational speech. Other women know what to do to get male children. You're just sitting there like everything is fine. No problem. We'll try once more. If it's not a boy, don't blame me." Sadly, when Adanna got pregnant again, she gave birth to another girl. After that, the silence between her and her husband grew deeper every day. He stopped talking to her, stopped caring, and slowly began to treat her like she didn't matter anymore. The house turned cold. Hugo stopped talking to her, stopped looking at the girls, stopped caring. The man who once held Adanna at night now slept in the guest room. The one who promised her forever now treated her like a visitor. One morning, he snapped, "I married you for sons. What use are girls to me?" he shouted. Then came Linda, Hugo's elder sister, sharp-tongued and full of bitterness. Hugo had invited her over. 3 girls, she hissed, and 1 crippled. Linda scoffed, circling Adanna like a hawk. "In my village, women like you get sent back to their father's house. You're breeding bad luck." She looked at Grace's crutches and clicked her tongue. "And this one go carry family name? God forbid." Before Adanna could reply, Linda opened the door for her other brothers. With a command, "Pack your things. You're leaving today." One of the girls cried, clutching the sofa, "Mama, where are we going?" Adanna wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Anywhere God is." She looked at them straight in the eye. "One day, these girls you're throwing away will build names bigger than this house." And with nothing but her children and a broken heart, she walked out of the gate. No one stopped her, not even Hugo, her husband. That night, she found shelter in an abandoned building, half-roofed, smelling of cement and cold water. Rain leaked through the cracks, soaking their clothes. The wind howled. Adanna wrapped her daughters in old wrappers and whispered through chattering teeth, "Mama is still here. You'll be okay." But the morning brought hunger. And hunger is louder than heartbreak. She carried her babies on her back and walked the market, asking for any job, any help. Most people waved her away, until she met Mrs. Dorcas, the Akara seller by the bus stop. "Wash my plates. Help me fry. I'll give you food," the old woman said. Adanna nodded. No shame in survival. Every morning after that, she stood over a hot pot of oil, frying Akara with blistered fingers. Every night, she whispered stories into her daughter's ears, stories of women who rose from dust and became queens. Grace, though she walked with crutches, had a mind as sharp as fire. Faith always asked questions, always tried to help Mama count change. Victory was still a baby, but she had strength in her lungs and light in her eyes. The girls watched Adanna, not just with love, but with wonder. They saw her sweat. They saw her struggle. But they also saw her never give up. As they grew, they taught themselves to read from torn books, counted coins, play pretend news anchors, and whispered dreams they could barely understand. Then, life knocked again. A bulldozer leveled their makeshift home, scattering the little they had. Adanna didn't cry. She gathered what was left, held her daughters close, and moved into an old mechanic's workshop. It smelled of grease, the floor was cold, but it was a shelter. And quietly, God opened a new door. At a church crusade, Adanna shared her story, not for pity, but as a plea for hope. Her words reached Madame Ijeoma, who later approached her. "You want a better life? Come work in my laundry." Adanna accepted. She worked tirelessly, her hands steady, her stitches careful. She saved every naira. Her daughters, Faith, Grace, and Victory, started school in second-hand uniforms but walked with pride. They studied hard, helped their mother fold clothes, and still played at being news anchors under a flickering bulb. By the time they turned 10, Adanna had saved enough for a one-room apartment. It had a door, a roof, and hope. Then came a twist of fate. She returned a forgotten ID card in a customer's shirt pocket. The owner, a journalist, was touched by Adanna's honesty. She wrote an article, "Laundry Woman with a Dream for Her Daughters." It went viral. Strangers visited with gifts. One man offered to pay the girls' school fees. But Adanna never slowed down, because she remembered what it meant to be thrown away, to be hungry, to be hopeless. But her daughters, they would know love. They would know dignity. Then the storm returned. The rainy season came with fewer customers and unstable power. Some days, they lived on just Gary and groundnuts. So when a woman from Banana Island arrived in a black SUV, asking for someone to handle her private laundry, Adanna didn't hesitate. "I need someone who knows how to behave in a rich woman's house," the woman said coldly. Adanna needed the money. She packed her iron, starch, and brushes. Faith and Grace begged to follow. "We'll help, Mema," they promised. At the mansion, everything gleamed. The girls sat quietly while Adanna scrubbed lace with careful hands. But even well-behaved children are still children. Faith tried folding a silk blouse. Grace followed her lead, whispering instructions. Then a slip, splash. The blouse fell into a mop bucket. The rich woman stormed in. "You brought your crippled child to destroy my N350000 blouse," she screamed. The rich woman raised her hand, eyes blazing. "You stupid girl." Before her palm could fall, Faith stepped in front of her sister, voice shaking. "Don't touch her." Adanna dropped her brush and rose. Her voice was calm, but it burned. "I may need money, but not more than I need my daughters to keep their pride. Touch my child again, and you'll see the strength of a mother who has nothing to lose." The woman scoffed. "Are you mad?" "No, I'm a mother." She packed her things and walked out, hand in hand with her daughters, head held high. They returned home drenched, the girls silent with guilt. That night, under the leaking roof, Adanna lit a candle and divided their last piece of bread. "No one should feel bad for protecting their family," she whispered. "We lost a job, not our worth." The next Sunday, when no customers came, Adanna declared it Family Celebration Day. She spent her last N500 on suya and sachets of ice cream. The children screamed with joy. They spread a wrapper on the floor, danced to a crackling radio, and laughed until their bellies ached. Faith mimicked the rich woman. "This blouse is 350K. Grace added, "My slippers are 250. They all burst into laughter. That night, Adanna brought out a worn notebook. "The future book," she called it. "Write who you want to be," she told them. "This book listens. No judgment." Faith wrote, "Lawyer." Grace scribbled, "Doctor." Victory printed, "Engineer." And in the corner, Adanna wrote with a proud smile, "Mother of Greatness." Months passed, and life, though hard, moved forward for Adanna and her daughters. The days were long, the nights longer, but there was a rhythm now, a small, stubborn happiness in the simple things, shared meals, inside jokes, and the growing weight of dreams written in the future book. The rain had stopped, but the ground was full of dirty water. Adanna and her daughters laughed as they walked home after work, tired but happy. Suddenly, splash! A black car rushed by and covered them in muddy water. The girls gasped. Their clothes, bags, even their hair was soaked. The car stopped, and a man and a woman came down. Instead of saying sorry, the woman shouted, "Useless people, walking like goats on the road." Adanna's heart tightened. She wiped her daughters' faces, trying to stay calm. Then the man turned, and their eyes met. Adanna froze. It was Hugo, her husband. For a second, he looked shocked. But quickly, he straightened and hissed. The woman laughed loudly. "Look at them, beggars," she mocked, dragging Hugo's hand. "Let's go before they beg for money." Hugo didn't even look back. He entered the car with the woman, slammed the door, and drove off. Adanna stood quietly, her daughters looking up at her with wide, hate eyes. She took a deep breath, forced a small smile, and said, "Don't mind them, my loves. The mud will dry, but our future will shine." They picked up their bags and kept walking. Sometimes, God does not announce when he lifts a person. He just shows it, loudly, for everyone to see. After selling her mother's necklace to register faith and grace for the competition, Adanna wiped her eyes and kept praying. Help came, but not from where she expected. One Sunday after service, the pastor's wife called her aside. "We've been watching you," she said, smiling warmly. "Your daughters are brilliant. There's a Christian organization that offers scholarships. I want them to apply." Adanna almost fainted from joy. With pastor's wife's help, Faith and Grace got full scholarships, this time without Adanna selling anything. Soon, they were on a plane abroad, leaving behind the struggles but carrying the lessons. Meanwhile, Victory, the youngest, stayed back with Adanna, helping her grow a small laundry business into something bigger. Years passed. Faith became a top lawyer. Grace, the one they said would never walk well, became a doctor. Victory later became a civil engineer, just like she once scribbled in the future book. Adanna, she blossomed too. The woman who once sold a car under the sun now owned a laundry shop with 3 workers. She dressed well, smiled often, and carried herself like a queen, because she had raised queens. Meanwhile, Hugo's life was falling apart. The woman he married after abandoning Adanna had ruined him completely. She sold his house, his land, and finally dumped him when sickness came. Sick and broke, Hugo and his sister Linda dragged themselves to a hospital they heard was giving free treatment. Hugo coughed heavily, his clothes hanging loose on his body. His sister Linda, once proud and boastful, now looked defeated. The Future Hope Children's Hospital buzzed with soft laughter, nurses' shoes tapping gently across the polished floors. Dr. Grace Emmanuel Daniel, now a respected pediatric surgeon, walked through the hallway with purpose. She paused at the nurse's desk, flipping through patient files. Her phone buzzed, but she ignored it. There were too many kids to care for, and her heart was in every one of them. Today, they were giving free treatment to everyone. In the waiting area, an elderly man sat quietly. He looked worn out, his shirt faded, shoes dusty, face lean from life's struggles. He glanced around, admiring everything. The clean white walls, the smiling nurses, the confident young doctor moving gracefully from room to room. He watched Grace and sighed. "If only she were my daughter," he muttered. "What a blessing that would be." He told his sister Linda. "Her parents are lucky," she replied. He didn't recognize her. Time had changed her. He'd missed too much. And Grace, she didn't recognize him either. Minutes later, the lobby doors opened. Adanna walked in, holding a small bag of food. Faith followed, arms stretched out for a hug. Victory, fresh off a flight from abroad, dragged a small suitcase behind her. They giggled as they approached the nurse's station. "We're here to surprise her," Victory whispered. Grace turned and froze. Her eyes lit up. "Mummy." She rushed forward, hugging Adanna tightly, then pulling Victory into her arms. "I didn't even know you were in the country." She laughed. "I wanted to surprise you," Victory beamed. "I came straight from the airport." In the corner, The old man had stood to leave. Then he saw them, Adanna, and the three girls. His girls. His body stiffened. His mouth fell open. The plastic chair behind him creaked and clattered to the floor. Everyone turned. Adanna's eyes met his. She blinked, stunned. Hugo took a shaky step forward. His lips trembled. Adanna. Silence. Grace. Faith. Vi victory. The room went still. Faith's eyes narrowed. Wait. Mama. Who is this man? Adanna hesitated. Then softly, "Is your father." Gasps filled the air. Victory stepped back. What? Tears brimmed in Hugo's eyes. I didn't know. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. I was a fool. I abandoned you because I couldn't see the treasure God gave me. Grace stood frozen. Faith looked confused. But Victory. She snapped, voice trembling. No, don't try to talk to us now. You left us to suffer. You left Mama to raise us alone. You don't deserve this moment. Hugo broke down, falling to his knees. I'm sorry. I was blind. I thought girls were a curse. I didn't realize they were my biggest blessing. Please forgive us, Linda, pleaded as she went down on her knees asking for forgiveness. The nurses watched quietly, unsure whether to interrupt. Then Adanna stepped forward, her voice calm and strong. My children, she said softly. I carried pain for years, but I released it, because if we hold on to anger, we'll block our own healing. She knelt beside Hugo, helping him up. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself. Her voice trembled as she continued. Children are gifts from God. Boys, girls, all of them. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Your father failed to see that, but let's not fail to forgive. The girls looked at each other. Victory wiped her tears but still hesitated. Then Faith stepped forward. She reached out a hand to Hugo. You hurt us, but you're still our father. Grace added, and we've grown strong, not because of you, but in spite of you. And today, we choose peace. Finally, Victory stepped closer. She stared at him for a long moment, then hugged him tight. Tears flowed freely. From them, from him, from Adanna. And in that hospital, built with hope and pain, healing happened once more, this time, inside a family. Moral lesson. Every child is a gift from God, regardless of gender. To reject a child is to reject a blessing. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it opens the door to healing, peace, and redemption. No matter how far we fall, grace can still find us.